Any paranormal story that has to do with old people freaks me out so much. This story freaked me out. So Violet had been living with her grandmother since she was a child. Her mother was actually a medium. Now, they lived in this house, but nothing actually ever happened in this house until she turned 14 years old. So one night, Violet is in her room, and her grandmother comes in her room to set an alarm for her to wake up the next morning. Violet is standing behind her grandmother, and there's a window right next to her. Now, by this window, she sees something out of the corner of her eye. So she looks over outside of the window, and they live across like this Catholic church that's not very active but still has members. As she's looking outside, she sees this old woman, and she's just standing outside. She's wearing a poncho around her shoulders, and she's very short, and she is just staring at Violet, or at least staring at her house through the fields, because she's pretty far away. Now, Violet doesn't really think anything of it. It does kind of creep her out a little bit, but she just kind of brushes it off. But then the next night, the same thing happens, and then this starts to happen often. Her grandmother would be in her room setting her alarm for the next morning, and she would be standing behind her grandmother looking outside, and she would see this old woman staring at the house or at her. She didn't know. Now, she still doesn't take it seriously, right? Because she thinks it's just some woman standing outside. There's not really much she can do about it until this happens. So one night, she goes into her kitchen and she's getting water for her kitten. And she is getting the water, she's putting it in the bowl, when suddenly she sees something out of the corner of her eye. She looks over, and in her backyard, peeking through the window, is that old woman. Just peeking through the window. So this actually scares Violet this time. So she goes running back into her room. Now, years pass of weird stuff like this happening, with her seeing this old woman everywhere. And this ties into the next part of the story. Now, fast forward to when Violet is 18 years old, and she's in her bedroom and she's watching TV, and she starts to get this heavy feeling like she's being watched. She starts to think that maybe it's what she's watching. It's making her feel uncomfortable. So she picks up her remote to change the channel. The remote won't work. Now, her door was closed, but she has a small window on top of her door where the light comes in from the kitchen. Now, at this time, her grandparents are in bed, her whole house is quiet, and she starts to hear this sound, and it sounds like rhythmic. And then she realizes that it's chanting. Now, in this moment, she could not move, she could not speak, she was frozen with terror. But for some reason, she kept trying to still change the channel. So she can't move though, so she can't change the channel. But she's just thinking about the fact that she needs to change the channel. And then she starts to hear this very eerie tribal-like music, and then chains just dragging against the floor. So now there's chanting, there's chains dragging across the floor, and she's sitting there absolutely petrified. She has no idea what's going on. And then it just starts to get louder and louder and closer until it is right outside of her door. And at this point, she is frozen, praying inside of her head when boom, 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 she hears 4 loud bangs on her door, and then her TV and her lights simultaneously just shut off. Her room is pitch black now. She is frozen, she cannot move, and she is taking her eyes and she's scanning the entire room. When suddenly she hears someone is breathing super heavy. So she slowly looks up at the window above her door, and that old woman is peeking through that tall window, fogging up the glass, breathing. So she just starts praying. She just starts praying and praying and praying and praying, and she's closing her eyes, and finally she opens them. She's able to move again all of a sudden. She stands up. She slowly looks up at the window, and that woman is gone. The chanting gone. The chains gone. Everything just stopped. Now, somehow she falls asleep. I have no idea how she does this. I have no idea how people do this in scary stories. Then the next morning, she wakes up, she runs downstairs to her grandma, and she tells her grandma what happened. And she's like, "What, did you hear this?" And her grandmother is like, "No, I didn't." Her great-grandmother then looks at her and is like, what happened? So she tells her great-grandmother what happened. And her great-grandmother is like, "I actually heard that. I heard that chanting last night, but I didn't see anything. So I went back to sleep." And she, to this day, has no idea what that was, but it absolutely terrifies her to this day. So what do you guys think this was? So creepy. Oh my God. I want to know what happened afterwards. Like, did she ever see this thing afterwards, this old woman after that, or was that the end of it? Also, was this, like, obviously this woman wasn't, I mean, if she was peeking inside of like that window, she was inside of her house. So obviously this woman, in my opinion, was probably not alive. Just that's what I'm thinking, obviously, unless someone broke into her house. But the chanting and the chains and the music, obviously that is this all sounds paranormal to me, and there's something about old people and children ghosts that freak me out so bad, and I don't know if I would be able to handle that. I don't know if I would ever be able to go to sleep again. I would not have been able to go to sleep that night. So kudos to you, girl. I was actually literally just watching scary movies with my mom, and me and my mom were talking about how people just go to sleep after something scary happens, and we were both like, I don't understand how people do that. We literally were just talking about it like at half an hour ago. But she wants to know what you guys think this was. Like, what exactly do you think this was? What do you think the chanting was? What do you think the old woman like signifies? I have no idea. I can't think of anything. So if you guys have any ideas, your comments, suggestion, thoughts, please drop them below. But as always, please be respectful. And with that being said, we're now going to do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. Jessica.speaker8. You are the best. You said that you watch all my videos and you also repost them. I saw that you repost them, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much for that type of support. That means so much to me. You have no idea. Thank you for watching all my videos. Thank you so much for being a part of my community. Thank you for being kind and telling me. Like, I love hearing stuff like that. If you guys watch all my videos, tell me. It makes me so happy. I love it. I hope you know how much I truly appreciate your support and you as an individual, and I hope to see more of you. I love you. Nthabi1925. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you so much for what you said. You said that my stories make your day better and that you love them so much, and I love that so much. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm so glad that my stories make your day better. That is the whole point of me telling these stories, is to give you guys some cozy vibes, some spooky vibes, and kind of just like do the same thing for you guys as spooky stories do for me, and that is calm me down. I like literally wait till the end of the day that I can just lay in bed and listen to spooky stories like a weirdo, like all of us. And so to be that for you is amazing, and I appreciate you telling me that so much. Your support means so much to me. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and for being kind and telling me that, and for watching my videos and liking them. I'm so lucky to have you, and I hope you know that I know that. So I love you, girl. And with that being said, my name is Kaisa, and I tell your paranormal experiences on here and ones that you recommend to me every single night. So if you're into that, hit that follow button, and I just need you to do 3 things for me. And what are those? Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much. See you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs.
If I tell you about the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, can you tell me what you think it was? My name's Cassidy. I like to talk a lot. This was just a boring summer night back in my college town. It was me, my twin sister, and just like 3 of our friends. And we decided, hey, you know what? We're just gonna chill, have a little bonfire, maybe do a little gardening. A few of our friends stopped by for maybe 5 minutes to sit in the little patch of grass near us. I think they had partaken a mushroom. Just picked some flowers, made a little flower crown. You know, we were just all giggling at them off to the side. They got up, left. Once they left, though, it was a really strange thing. All the embers in the fire rose up to what, if I remember correctly, it looked like a creepy cross. My sister remembers it being a face. It was something so creepy that we were like, ooh, okay, like, that's it, like, that's, ooh, it gave us all a really eerie vibe that we're like, party's done, we're just gonna go home. So me and my sister, we got in our car, heading back. I'm like looking out the window, you know, she's driving, we're not talking, it's only like a 3-minute ride to our house, very small town. At the same time, I see something, and so I jump, and she slams on her brakes, and I was like, whoa, what is it? And she was like, I thought I saw something in the road, and I'm like, was it like a black shadow thing? Because I thought I saw that too. She was like, yeah, that was weird. What was that? And we were like, I don't know, but we didn't see anything else. Kept going, made it home. When we pulled up into my driveway, oh my God, I can't explain. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Ooh, I can't explain the feeling I felt. I just remember I was like, Krista, when we get out of the car, I want to grab your arm so we can walk in together. It felt like something was standing on our front porch watching us, but there was nothing there. I was like, I just don't feel safe past the front porch. And she was like, okay. After I said that, the lights in her car came on, and she was like, oh, like, it's okay. It's okay. That was just me. She told me later that it was not just her. Liar. She gets out of her car. I get out of the passenger side, walk around. My gut is going crazy. I grab her arm. We're walking in, like, there's 3 steps leading up to the porch that led up to the door. Step 1, the music in her phone just started playing. And we were like, oh my God, that was so scary. On step 2, there was a light. It had a bird's nest in it. It had been out for 6 months. The light bulb came on. Oh my God. Step 3, it felt like there was something like right here. It felt like if I were to look over, like it would get me. But at that point, like when that light hit, we ran. But once we were inside, we felt totally fine. Nothing else like that ever happened again. I have never felt anything like that before. So I need to know, what the heck was that?
This scary story is exactly why you should not be interacting with any spirits, even if they are presenting themselves as positive spirits, because they could ultimately be evil as. So a girl named Barb sent me her story, and she actually told me that I could tag her, so I'm going to tag her. She will be seeing all of the comments. Barb's mother, her daughter, and her can all see spirits. They can predict things before they happen. They lucid dream, and Barb especially lucid dreams, like big time. So when Barb was a toddler in 1974, she used to have terrifying nightmares. They were so terrifying that her mom actually had to take her to a psychologist. This psychologist actually did a word association with her, and the word association would end up being super sad and super scary. So before Barb was born, her brothers were actually unalived in a house fire. When she went to see the psychologist, part of the word association was, what explodes? And her response was, house. It's black. This is actually the word association right here that she did. She obviously had no idea about her brothers being unalived on fire because her mom is not going to tell her because she's a toddler. But the psychologist suggests that she actually tells her daughter what happens so that she stops dreaming about it. And crazy enough, it actually worked. But unfortunately, her dreams would just get scarier. And I'm talking like scarier. So she started dreaming so lucidly that she actually thought that she was awake. She would have this dream where she was laying in her bed and she could actually see into her living room. And in her living room, she would actually see something that looked like the Wicked Witch of the West. And if you don't know what that looks like, then you should go look up the Wizard of Oz. You don't necessarily want to be seeing this witch in your dreams, especially as a toddler. But what was so scary about this is she would present herself as being really far away, and she would shake her finger at her like she was doing something wrong, but she would twitch while she moved. And all of a sudden she would disappear and she would reappear, but she would be closer. She actually said that she reminded her a lot of the girl from The Ring, the way that she moved. She said that when she saw The Ring, she absolutely lost her ever-loving mind. So then her mother takes her to see another psychologist because of her dreams, and he actually teaches her how to control her dreams, which is really cool. He tells her that dreams are actually like watching TV, and you can change the channel if you want to. She starts getting really good at this, and the dreams actually start going away. Fast forward to when she was 10 years old, and she actually moved from a big city to a smaller city and a new house. In the new house, she actually used to see this little girl in a white dress about 2 or 3 years old playing next to the lake behind her house. She said that this little girl looked a lot like her neighbor's granddaughter, and so the first time she saw it, she actually ran outside and tried to get the little girl because she didn't want her to fall in the water. But when she would go outside, the little girl wouldn't be there. Barb said that she even went over to the next door neighbor's house and asked the grandmother if the daughter was ever playing outside, and the grandmother said no and asked her why. She didn't want to seem weird, so she was like, oh, I just wanted to play with her. She said that her and her mother actually saw this girl for the next 10 years. Her mostly, though. Now, it was now at this time that Barb actually started sleepwalking and talking. She was doing it so much that her mother was really worried, and so she actually put a lock door handle on her door. Now, they both agreed to this because neither of them wanted her to go outside and fall in the lake while she was sleeping. Now, Barb would do this really cool trick in order to know if she was dreaming or not, because she would have the most lucid dreams. And she would actually write an X on her hand, and if she was dreaming, she would not see the X, and if she wasn't dreaming, she would see the X, and that's how she knew if she was dreaming or not. That's how lucid her dreams were. Now, we're gonna fast forward to when Barb was 19 years old, and she actually bought a new house and is pregnant at this point. The house is in the country in Michigan, and her daughter is actually born 3 months later, and she lives with her baby's father. In this part of the story, Barb mentions that she actually, it takes a lot to get her scared, because when she was little, her mom used to read her Stephen King in the sun while they were hanging out outside, and she was always allowed to watch horror movies. She loves horror movies. Her favorite holiday is Halloween. That, combined with the fact that she is a sensitive, it takes a lot to scare this girl. But it was actually in this house that she would experience absolute terror. Barb started noticing that there was a ghost in her house, and at first this ghost was super helpful and actually nice. It would actually play games with her sometimes. Now, just for purpose of the story, you need to know the layout of the house. Now, there was a basement in the house, and the basement had a dirt floor and a water cistern. I hope I'm saying that word right. Cistern? And originally it actually had outside doors that you would pull open. When she bought it though, a back porch had been added. So she would open the kitchen door that used to go outside, and it now went into the enclosed back porch. The steps to the basement were located there, and this will be important for later on in this story. She hated going down in the basement. The hair on the back of her neck would stand up and she would feel someone there. She just knew that someone was there with her. She only ever went down there to check the furnace or the fuel oil. Other than that, nothing happened except for after her baby's father moved out, when her baby was about 6 months old. It started off by her hearing a car pulling in the driveway. She would hear a car door open, like the front door was opening, then shut, and then she would hear like someone was getting something out of the back seat, and they would open the back seat door and shut the back seat door. She would go outside and check, and there would be nothing there. And mind you, this was the country, so she could see for miles. So there's no way that anyone could have been in her driveway that quickly for her to go back out and check and then not be there anymore. Another time she was in the shower and she would hear a man's voice, and she actually thought that it was her answering machine. This was 1993, mind you. And so she would get out of the shower, she would check the answering machine, and there would be no messages or no missed calls. Now you might be thinking, well, someone could have broken into the house, but she said that all the doors would be locked when she would check. And this is when she realized that there was definitely a spirit in her house that was a man, and she named him George. And George seemed to like his name because this is when the activity started to really ramp up. At first, this activity was really not bad. It was kind of fun and nice and helpful. Then it turns incredibly dark and sinister and terrifying. Now, I'm sorry you guys, but the story is getting really long and I cannot tell 10-minute stories on here. If you want a part 2, drop it in the comments, but the only thing is I'm gonna have to put it on. Now, this is going to be really simple for you guys to go to because the link is in my bio. You simply have to click it, and I'm sure you guys know why I have to do this, and this is because of the TikTok. But don't worry, you guys, I am going to be posting another story on here tomorrow, but the part 2 to this will just be on. I need to see that you want a part 2 in the comments, please. And if you have anything to say to Barb, also drop it in the comments. Like I said, she is going to be watching all of the comments. Sure, she will answer any of your questions. Other than that, I hope you guys like the beginning of the story. My name is Kaisa. If you guys have any true scary stories that you want to submit to me, my email's in my bio. Guys, remember, if you like this story or if you liked listening to true scary stories every single night, I do give them every single night on here. Just hit that follow button. If you really liked it, you can engage. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Have a spooky night.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Okay, yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a hellhound before? Because just seeing it put somebody in the hospital. Tonight's true scary story is absolutely insane. But before I get started, I just want to remind you to subscribe to my where I tell longer versions of stories and scarier stories. And the longer version of the story I told last night is up. Also, if you want to send me your true scary story and you want me to recount it on here, my email is in my bio. So tonight's submitter's name is Anna, and about 10 years ago, Anna went to Andersonville, Georgia. So apparently this is a Civil War battleground, and it's actually known for hauntings. Okay, so she was driving with her friend and she was sitting in the passenger seat, and everything was good. They were listening to the radio, they were driving. All of a sudden they see something in the road, and they don't know what it is at first, but then they're realizing that it's this huge white dog with pitch black eyes, and it's right in the middle of the road. The only crazy thing about this is that this dog is the size of their car. But because this was all happening so fast, they didn't really put 2 and 2 together, and they just thought they were going to get into a car accident, so they just braced themselves for impact. Except for that impact never came. They kept driving, and that dog disappeared into thin air. They look back, they do not see the dog. They're both hyperventilating and literally having anxiety attacks. They're just sitting in the car, they cannot believe what just happened, and they're just like, okay, we have to go home and we have to talk to my dad, because apparently her dad was a paranormal investigator. As soon as they walked into the house, they didn't have to say anything. Her dad already knew that something was seriously wrong. He wanted to go back because he was a paranormal investigator, and so they did. Now, she didn't tell me exactly what happened when they did. If you guys want to know, drop it in the comments. After they got back from doing that, they go home, and she notices that she has claw marks on her. Now, they're not terrible. They're just like enough where it's like annoying her. But it is freaking her out because she has no idea where these claw marks are coming from. Well, she goes to sleep, and the next morning she wakes up, and these claw marks have turned into something way worse. It looked like claw marks and bite marks on her legs, and it was so bad and so deep that she had to be rushed to the hospital, and she was admitted for 3 days. A friend also had injuries, but they weren't as bad. She didn't have to go to the hospital for it. Now, she says that sometimes still to this day, she'll wake up in like a cold sweat. And sometimes when she's driving at night, she'll see this dog through the trees. It's almost like it's kind of attached itself to her, or maybe it leaving marks on her, it like left an imprint on her or something. I don't know. What do you guys think? They actually found out later that similar things have been happening there for years. encounters. She's never met anybody else who has encountered the dog, and she wants to know if anybody else has, especially anybody who has been in that area. So what do you guys think this was? Do you think that it was a hellhound? Do you think it was something else? We'd love to know, so please drop it in the comments, because she has no idea what happened to her, and it still eats at her to this day. By the way, with the story that I told the other day with the camp and the doll and like the everywhere, I still haven't heard back from her, so I'm sorry that I can't give you guys an update on that. But before I end this, I am going to do my shout outs, and hopefully you guys see these shout outs, because today I woke up to 500 views on my video, the lowest I have ever woken up to ever. So I have no idea what TT is doing to me, but whatever. My first shout out is going to Ariana with a little heart next to her name. You are the best. You fall asleep to my videos. I love that so much. That makes my whole day. I love that. I love it when you guys tell me things like that. Thank you so much for supporting me. It means the absolute world to me, and I love you for that. My next shout out is going to XDollAD. Girl, you follow me on a couple of my accounts. That is so sweet. Like, when you guys do that, I swear it melts my heart. I love you guys so much. My supporters are 100% top tier, all of you guys, and thank you so much for supporting me on so many accounts. I am going to do a promotion now, so if you want to stay, just go ahead and stay. I would really appreciate it, but if you do not want to stay, I absolutely understand. That's why I put them at the end. Girls, this bra is the most comfortable bra I have ever put on in my entire life. When I tell you the support is unreal, there's padding in it that makes it lift up your girls. You can wear this underneath a V-neck shirt, you can wear it underneath a regular shirt, you can wear it as a sports bra, you can wear it as a regular bra. It comes with this right here. It has adjustable straps. Obviously, you can see the material right here is super thick. I'm obsessed with it. It is the most comfortable thing I've ever worn, and I love how it lifts up your girls. So I will drop the link for you ladies right there if you are looking for a good bra / sports bra. Other than that, I love you guys so much. You guys are literally my favorite people on earth, and I hope more people get to see this today than they did yesterday, but I love you guys nonetheless. My name is Kaisa, and I tell true scary stories on here every single night that you guys submit to me, so if you like that, hit that follow button. Keep sending me your scary story, guys, and I just need you to do 2 things for me. And what are those? Have a safe night, and what else? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys. See you in the next one.
Wait, guys, I'm back. When I was in the shower, I randomly remembered this story that was scary, and I don't really remember where it fits in. So we're gonna do it as a little tidbit. So hello, what's up? Also, to start off, I got a couple comments, which means actually the world to me, but like people asking about my makeup and my skincare routine and stuff, and saying that I have great skin. I promise you, I really don't. I typically always use a filter. I don't know if I have one on right now. I don't know if it, you know, if you go like this, it'll come off. I think I do. I definitely do. No, my skin is not nice. I promise you. It has its moments, like, where it will be very clear and kind of look good, but I have really super bad eczema. Right now it's kind of chilled out, but I get it like all around my eyes, all around my eyebrows, around my mouth. I get it right here really bad. I get a lot of pimples. I have a lot of like scarring and marks on my face. So my skin is not, I wouldn't call it super nice, but that means so much to me. I really appreciate that. But I use like the Cetaphil gentle, like gentle foaming cleanser, I think it's called. I'll do something more in depth, but my skincare is not a bunch of steps and not anything special, honestly, or crazy or anything like that. I probably should have it that way, but I do not have a lot of money, so I don't. I would rather spend it on shoes. But anyway, oh my god, I cannot stay on topic to save my life. Okay, let's get into the story. I'm sorry, guys. You guys are real ones for bearing with me all the time. So I remembered, okay, this one time, my sister was visiting, the sister that was living in California at the time. She lives in Montana now. But she was visiting, and we were talking, and we were downstairs in the living room, and either nobody else was home or everybody was upstairs. I can't really remember, but I think nobody else was home. And we're like sitting on the couch and we're talking, and she keeps looking at the window behind me. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you keep looking at? And she was like, nothing. I just keep thinking I'm seeing something. Remember, I was forbidden to talk about anything, essentially, like, I didn't really want to talk about it anymore, and I also wasn't really supposed to talk about it anymore to like visitors or guests, so that I wouldn't freak them out, I guess, even though they were bound to see something one time or freaking another. But so I go into start to walk into the kitchen, and she's still talking, and then she just comes to a dead stop of her sentence and just doesn't say another word. So I'm like, hey, like, hey, you good? Like, yelling into the other room. She's not saying anything. And I walk in, and she is just sitting in, like, a dead stare, looking at that window. And she's like, somebody keeps walking past that window. Somebody's outside. And you know, freaked out. I'm like, oh my God. But at this point, I feel like somebody being outside was the least of my freaking concerns. Like, to be honest with you, it was a relatively busy neighborhood. So yeah, hey, like, there's a house right there. Can you leave? I'm being tormented by enough on the inside. But regardless, she calls somebody, and they, like, her friend, and they show up, and they look around like, whatever, like, I don't think anybody's here, you know, what have you. And I was like, okay, what did she's like, well, they looked so specific. I'm like, okay, what did the person look like? She's like, here's the weird thing. She's super smart, and I forget how she explained it, but the way, like, the shadow moved, like, the person couldn't have been on the outside, or, like, it had to have been, like, a shadow, like, radiating from the inside, or, I don't know. This girl's very smart. I do not remember the specifics of this, but she's like, yeah, it was definitely, like, a man, and I could tell he had a hat on, and I'm like, what kind of hat? She's like an old-timey top hat. Like, oh, okay. Well, there's that. And I didn't tell her that. I probably should have. You know, I feel bad looking back, but she wasn't all that scared, because she kind of just thought it was like a random person outside. But then she was like, you know, about the shadow and everything, like, oh, that was super weird, you know, whatever. And I was just like, yeah, this house is creepy. I told you, like, it's really extremely creepy in here, and that's all I know. It's all really, that is legally all I'm allowed to say. But signed an NDA with the freaking demons. Sorry, I'm cracking. Okay, all right. I love you guys. Bye. I am, if you have ADHD, you might be, like, able to listen to me talk and it doesn't bother you at all. But if you don't, I know somebody's gonna get on here and be like, you ramble too much. But oh well, yeah, I do. I know I do. All right, just wanted to share that little tidbit. Bye. Hope everybody's having a great day.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
Scary Storytime Mimic Edition, While I Make Slime, sent in by a supporter. Please don't mind my bonnet, yeah. So we gonna call this girl Miley, because she didn't tell me if she wanted to remain anonymous or not. Oh my gosh, I always do this. Okay, so y'all, Miley decided to stay at a cabin with some of her friends and her boyfriend. I want to say this is in the middle of nowhere. I need to start making my slime in a bowl again. But this cabin was in New Zealand, and they didn't know too much about the cabin, but they rented it anyways because it was the end of the school year. You know, they want to have fun. Okay. Now, the day that they got there, nothing ended up happening. Everything was going good. Everything was going nice up until it started to get closer to night. Now, during the day, they went skiing, they went exploring, and then towards the night, they started to chill, they started to wind down, they had a couple drinks, and they decided to all get into the hot tub. Now, when they were all in the hot tub, they heard this loud bang noise, but since they were intoxicated, they ended up, like, letting it go, sort of. So after hearing the first noise, guess what? They heard a noise a second time. And so I guess this was just the okay, it's time to go inside for her friends. They went inside, but Miley and her boyfriend decided to stay outside in the hot tub. So Miley and her boyfriend, they having fun outside. They, having a good little time. And then they start to hear footsteps. Now, this initially freaks Miley out. And then her boyfriend, like, reassures her, tells her everything is okay. And after that, a couple moments later, guess what Miley sees? A tall black figure. And this scares the crap out of her. She freezes. She jumps up, leaves the hot tub, and runs, like, literally into the house, leaving her boyfriend outside. Now, Miley was a little confused on why her boyfriend didn't follow her, but 10 minutes later, he ended up coming inside, and he was acting a little unusual, but she kind of, like, brushed it off. Now, they went to bed, and the next morning when she woke up, guess where her boyfriend was? Nowhere to be freaking found. So obviously, like any normal person in this situation, she started to freaking freak out, and she started texting him, calling him, blowing up his phone, and then he texted her like a weird response and was like, oh, everything is fine. It was just a family emergency. But this is kind of strange, because if it was that serious, you would have woken me up before you left, but you didn't. So since he responded, she ended up calming down, and she had a nice fun day with her friends, and her boyfriend was gone all day long, and he came back at night. Now keep in mind, they did not go back to the hot tub because everyone was kind of scared of it at this point. So when she seen her man again, she noticed that he looked way more frightened than he was. So she was like, are you good? And he just like responded like he had seen a ghost. So she was like, okay, something is off. She knew something was wrong. So she ended up going back outside to the hot tub to like clear her head to see what was going on. And that's when she found her boyfriend like unconscious, like he was sleeping. This is where it starts to get crazy because her boyfriend is in the hot tub, but at the same time, he's in the house. Something's not adding up. So obviously she panics. She wakes her boyfriend up, and this is where she realizes that her boyfriend that's like in the hot tub, that's her boyfriend. And the person that's in the house, she don't know who that is. So immediately she goes to check up on her man. She's like, hey, okay, this is gonna annoy me. Get off of the table. So immediately she goes to check up on her man, okay? And she wakes him up, and this is where she realized, like I said, that her man that was in the freaking hot tub, that was her man, and he has been here since she left him last night, okay? And the guy that was in the house, she don't know who that was. So she woke up her boyfriend, she grabbed him, and they went to the house, made sure all her friends were okay, and the mystery person, they were in the bathroom crying, looking confused. To this day, they don't know who that person was. They called the cops. The person got arrested. Now, I don't know if it was a mimic, but I can say it was probably like a walker, a walker, But anyways, yeah, that's the story. This was sent in to me by a supporter. I did not use their real name because they didn't give me permission to, so